Hey friend, welcome back to the Pursuit of Freedom series. I'm so glad that you are joining me here today. If this is your first time here, I'm so excited that you found this space. I've created this series of videos as an extension of the Pursuit of Freedom podcast and the workbooks so that we can dive even deeper into these life-changing topics and take real, actionable steps towards healing, growth, and freedom. My heart behind this is to walk with you and to help you uncover the pieces of yourself that may have gotten buried under expectations, fears, and self-doubt, and to remind you that your journey towards purpose is still unfolding. So today, we're talking about something that has been a huge part of my personal journey, finding purpose. It's something that so many of us wrestle with, and for the longest time, I did too. I spent years searching for my purpose like it was some kind of missing puzzle piece, something that I had to chase down or prove myself worthy of. And maybe you felt that way too, like you're supposed to have it all figured out, and like there's some grand plan that you're just missing out on, or like you're falling behind while everyone else seems to know exactly where they're going. But here's the truth that I've come to learn. Your purpose is not lost. It's not something that you have to try and chase. It's actually already inside of you. It's been woven into your life all along, quietly revealing itself in the things that you love, in the moments that light you up, and in the deep, undeniable pull towards the things that truly matter to you. Finding purpose is not about striving. It's actually about finding alignment. It's about paying attention to what brings you peace and embracing the things that make you feel alive and letting go of the pressure to try and follow someone else's path. So today, I want to share what this has looked like in my own life, how I stopped searching outside of myself, how I learned to trust God's plan for my life, and how I finally found the freedom to walk in my purpose with confidence and peace. We're also going to talk about how to recognize your purpose, how to bring your life into alignment with what truly matters to you, and how to live each day with intention and meaning. So let's dive in, because healing is a process, freedom is a choice, and transformation happens one step at a time. Have you ever felt like you're searching for your purpose, but the answer just seemed out of reach? Like it's some elusive thing that you're supposed to find, but you have no idea where you're even supposed to start? I used to feel that way too, and for years I felt lost. Like I was just drifting through life while everyone else seemed to have it all figured out. I watched my friends go off to college, pursue stable careers, and follow paths that made sense to them. And there I was, feeling like I just didn't fit into this mold, and like something was missing, and that I was somehow falling behind. I remember feeling different for as long as I can remember. I always knew that I was meant for something more, but I didn't know how to find it. I felt like I was living in between two different worlds. One in the physical world, where I struggled to fit in, and one in the spiritual world, where I felt deeply connected to God and the unseen world. I've had visions and dreams and spiritual gifts that make me aware of things that are beyond this physical world for my entire life, and I really never knew what to do with them or what to make of them. And for a long time, I felt like I was an outsider, and that I was watching others follow the traditional path, while I felt like I was called to something else, but I had no idea how to define it. I believed that purpose had to be something that was big, bold, and crystal clear. I thought that it had to be something so obvious and undeniable. And I imagined that one day I would wake up and I would just know what I was meant to do. And I'd have a moment of absolute clarity where everything would just make sense, and I would finally understand what I was supposed to do with my life. But unfortunately, that moment never came. And for a long time, that made me feel like I was falling behind and like I was missing something that everyone else seemed to have. But I've learned something. My path is not supposed to look like everyone else's. I've never been one to follow. I've always been a trailblazer, carving out my own journey, so it would make sense that I won't have the same life as everyone else around me, and I had to become all right with that. so I came to discover that I am meant to live a life that is authentic to me and that honors God in the process, however that may look. I've also learned that purpose is not always loud. It often just whispers. It doesn't always come as an earth-shattering realization. Sometimes it's actually hidden in the smallest details of our daily life. It's in the things that feel natural to us, or in the moments when you lose track of time, and the work that brings you joy even when no one else is watching. It's usually found in the things that light you up from the inside out, and the things that make you feel so connected to something bigger than yourself. And most importantly, it's in the things that feel true to who you are, not just who the world expects you to be. For me, purpose started showing up in the things that had been a part of me all along. My deep love for writing, my connection to horses, and my desire to help other people find their own sense of freedom and healing. Horses in particular became one of my greatest teachers. Working with them has always felt like second nature to me. There's just something about their calm strength, their quiet presence, and their ability to help me connect to God that was teaching me on how to truly be present in the moments of my life. They really don't care about your accomplishments or your status or your performance. They care about your energy, your presence, and your authenticity. And in spending time with them, I started reconnecting with myself in ways that I didn't even realize I needed. And it wasn't just about the horses themselves. It was about how they reflected back to me. They taught me that authenticity is not about becoming something more or becoming someone else. It's actually about returning to who you've always been. Because somewhere along the way, I had lost sight of that. I had spent so much of my life trying to fit into the expectations, trying to prove myself, and trying to be who I thought the world told me I was supposed to be. And for the longest time, I was searching for something outside of myself. I was chasing purpose as if it was a finish line that I was trying to reach. But slowly, as I started healing, I realized I had been looking in all of the wrong places. I had been seeking external validation when I really should have been looking for internal validation. And when my health struggles made it impossible for me to work with the horses like I used to, I felt lost all over again. But what that loss forced me to do was to look deeper and ask myself some questions. I started asking, if I couldn't do what I've always done, then who am I? And what was left of me? And in that stillness, I actually found something profound. Purpose is not about what you do, it's actually about who you are. And the more that I let go of those external pressures, the more that I started to hear my own voice again. I started to see that my purpose was not about performance. It was way more about alignment. And it was about living in a way that honored the deepest parts of who I am, and the parts that had been there all along, but they had just been buried under fear, doubt, and outside expectations. And this is the heart of purpose. It's not about finding something outside of yourself. It's actually about coming back home to yourself. It's about recognizing that the very things that make you feel alive and that bring you joy and that help you connect to something greater were placed within you for a reason. And when you start to embrace your authenticity, when you stop trying to shape yourself into someone else's vision and instead you start living in alignment with who God created you to be, that's when you can step into your true purpose. And friend, that's when you can start to experience a life that feels full, peaceful, and deeply meaningful. Not because you're striving, but because you're finally surrendering and just allowing yourself to be. Just recently, I had a moment with my horse Millie that completely changed my perspective on leadership, purpose, and alignment. She was standing by the fence while the rest of the herd ran wildly. They were kicking and bucking, and it was just pure chaos. And she didn't even try to stop them. She didn't try to control them. She just simply stood there, calmly, present, and steady. And eventually, all the other horses wore themselves out and they returned to her, looking for direction. Because she is their leader and they always come back home to her. And that's when it hit me. I don't have to chase or force or try to control my purpose. Pursuing purpose is actually about standing firm, about being steady, and about letting people and letting life unfold naturally. It's not my job to try and fix or to try and manage everything around me. It's my job to stay aligned and to remain at peace and to be ready to lead and to step into my purpose when the time actually comes. So as much as I have loved and learning from my horses, I couldn't ignore my passion for writing and creating either. They both just kept coming back around every time that I got more and more connected to myself. They were a part of me as well. Writing gave me a voice, a way to express my emotions and a way to share my heart with other people. It started off as something that I did just for me, but over time, I realized how much joy and fulfillment it brought me to help others through my words. I started to see that my purpose wasn't just about one singular calling. It was actually a tapestry woven from all of my passions, all of my talents, and every experience that I have had a part of my journey along the way. So when I finally allowed myself to embrace all of these different things, my horses, my writing, my passion for creating, and my passion for helping other people, I started to see how they weren't separate pieces, but rather they all fit together in a way that just made sense for me. And that's when I realized something profound. My purpose was not about becoming someone new. It was actually about returning to the person who I've always been. I used to think that I had to be ready before I could step into my purpose. So I kept waiting, and I kept getting more certifications, more training, and I kept acquiring more and more knowledge, thinking that once I had enough of all of this, then maybe I would finally feel qualified. But the truth is, no amount of preparation will ever make you feel fully ready, because at some point you're just gonna have to take the leap. You have to start where you are and trust that you already know enough, and then believe that you're gonna learn and figure out the rest as you go. And I spent years waiting to feel qualified, but I've also learned that the only thing that qualifies you is your willingness to show up every day in the process. And I had spent so much of my life searching outside of myself for clarity, looking for a roadmap that would lead me to some perfect version of success. But what I had been missing was the fact that my purpose was never something that I had to chase. It was something that I had to remember, something that I had to uncover piece by piece, by reconnecting with the things that made me feel alive, and by learning to trust myself again, and by giving myself permission to show up fully as the person that God created me to be. And friend, the same is true for you. Your purpose is not a destination. It's actually already inside of you. It's woven into all of the things that you love and all of the experiences that have shaped you and the ways that you naturally connect with the world around you. The key is to start paying attention and to stop dismissing the things that bring you joy and to stop silencing the parts of you that long to be seen and to trust that the things that make you uniquely you are there for a reason. And the more that you lean into who you already are, the more your purpose will unfold naturally. And in that unfolding, you'll find peace, clarity, and alignment that you've been searching for all along. Sometimes we struggle to find purpose not because it's missing, but just because we're out of alignment with what matters truly to us. Have you ever felt like something in your life was just off, even though everything on the surface might look fine? Like maybe you've checked all of the boxes, you're meeting all of the expectations, and you're doing everything right, but deep down you still just feel disconnected or unfulfilled? Well, that feeling is often a sign that you're not living in true alignment. And you're not living in alignment with your values and your true self. Your values are the foundation of who you are, and they're the beliefs and principles that guide your decisions, shape your priorities, and reflect what truly matters to you. So when your life aligns with those values, you feel grounded, peaceful, and purposeful. You wake up with a sense of clarity, knowing that your actions reflect what truly matters to you, that the way you spend your time, energy, and focus is actually contributing to a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling to you. But when you're out of alignment, it's like constantly swimming against the current. Even if on the outside everything looks fine, like maybe you have the job or you have the achievements and you're in the relationships that should be making you happy, but for some odd reason, there's still a disconnect. You might feel drained instead of energized, or you feel like something's just missing, but you can't quite put your finger on it. That's because alignment isn't about checking off the boxes or meeting these external expectations. It's actually about making sure that your daily life and the things that you commit to and the way that you show up in the world are connected to your heart, your passions, and the person who you were created to be. So if you're feeling that tension or that uneasiness and that sense of misalignment, I want to encourage you to pause and reflect. What are the things in your life that feel forced? Where are you saying yes to things that really don't resonate with you? And where do you feel the pull towards something deeper or something more fulfilling? Because the more you listen to those inner nudges, the more that you'll start to uncover what alignment looks like for you. The true you, not some made-up version of you. And in that alignment, you'll find something even greater than success. You'll find peace. And I wasn't even really sure what my own core values were when I first started out. I had spent so much of my life trying to chase goals that really weren't mine and doing what I thought I should be doing instead of what I actually wanted to be doing. I was living according to the expectations around me that didn't really truly reflect my heart, and I was molding myself into roles that didn't align with who I really was. And for a while, I convinced myself that as long as I kept pushing forward and as long as I kept achieving, eventually I might feel fulfilled. But that fulfillment never came. Instead, I just felt exhausted, disconnected, and uncertain about what I was even working towards. It wasn't until I hit a point of burnout that I realized something had to change. I couldn't keep running in circles and trying to meet expectations that didn't reflect my deepest values. So I started asking myself some of the hard questions. What truly mattered to me? What do I want my life to stand for? And maybe most importantly, have I been making choices that actually align with what I believe? Or have I been letting the noise of the world drown out my own voice? That's when I realized that finding purpose was not about seeking something outside of myself. It was actually about returning to what has already been there. It was about peeling back those layers of conditionings and the shoulds and the supposed tos and rediscovering that the values had been a part of me all along. And when I started aligning my life with those values, everything started to shift. I finally felt like I was living. I wasn't just existing. Not just going through the motions, but I was actually living again. I was living with intention, peace, and clarity. So I continued digging, and I wanted to discover more of my values. I wanted to know what was important to me and what I wanted my life to stand for. And the answers that kept coming up for me were freedom, connection, authenticity, and most importantly, my faith. I realized that I had not been prioritizing my relationship with Jesus at all. I had been so focused on doing things right by the world's standards that I had forgot to seek God's guidance for my own life. I was chasing clarity, striving for success, and trying to find my purpose in all of the things around me, when all along, the real answers were waiting in the quiet places where God had been speaking to my heart the whole time. But I had been too busy, too distracted, and too caught up to try and figure these things out on my own. So when I finally surrendered and I let go of my need to try and control the outcome, and when I stopped forcing my way through life, and instead I just started seeking God's wisdom and His discernment and His direction, more things began to shift in my life. It didn't suddenly have all the answers, and I didn't suddenly have it all figured out, and I certainly didn't wake up one day with it all perfectly mapped out, but what I did have was peace, a deep, unshakable peace that came from knowing I didn't actually have to have it figured out. I just had to be willing to trust God. So I started praying differently, and instead of asking, what am I supposed to do with my life? I started asking, Lord, what do you want for me? What direction should I be taking? What feels most aligned with the person that you created me to be? And as I leaned in, I took the time to listen, and I started to notice that God was leading me. He wasn't shouting or forcing me onto this specific path. He was just guiding me gently through the things that brought me joy, through the doors that opened effortlessly, and through the peace that I felt when I was fully aligned with Him. What I discovered is that spending time with my horses, writing, creating, and helping others weren't just hobbies or passions for me. They were actually a part of my purpose. They were the places where I felt most connected to who I truly was, and they aligned with my values. And the more I followed that peace, the more I realized that purpose is not about striving. It's actually about trusting. Trusting that God has already placed those desires in your heart for a reason. Trusting that when you surrender your plans to Him, He will lead you exactly where you need to be. And trusting that your purpose isn't something that you have to try and force. It's actually something that you get to uncover as you walk with Him, one step at a time. And friend, He doesn't expect you to have it all figured out. He's not looking for perfection. He's just looking for a willing heart. A heart that is open and that is ready to listen and that is willing to trust Him even when the path isn't clear. Because purpose isn't about knowing all the answers. It's about choosing to follow the peace. And when you do that, when you align your life with God's plan instead of trying to force your own, you'll find yourself exactly where you were always meant to be. For me, living with purpose isn't about titles or achievements or even the work that I do. It's about how I feel when I wake up every morning. It's about peace. It's about knowing that my life reflects the values that I hold most dear and being in alignment with who I truly am. It's about trusting that I'm exactly where I need to be, even if I don't have every step mapped out. Because purpose is not something that you have to find. It's something that you align with. And every day I choose to align my life with what matters most to me. So if you're feeling disconnected from your purpose, I want to encourage you to take a step back and ask yourself some questions. Are you living in alignment with what truly matters to you? If not, what small shifts can you start making today to help bring yourself back into alignment? It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul, maybe just one intentional choice at a time, because that can make all of the difference. And one of the first steps towards discovering your purpose is taking the time to reflect on what truly fulfills you. What are the moments in your life when you feel the most alive, the most at peace, and the most connected to something greater than yourself? Think about the times when time just seems to stand still, when you are so fully engaged in what you're doing that you forgot to check the time. Those moments are clues. They are whispers from God guiding you towards the things that make your soul come alive. And now ask yourself, what are the things that bring me the most joy? When do I feel closest to God? What values do I hold most dear? And am I actually living in a way that honors them? Because it's really easy to go through life on autopilot, following our routines and obligations without ever stopping to ask if they align with who we truly are. But true fulfillment comes when we take the time to pause, to reflect, and to intentionally design a life that aligns with our deepest values and our desires. So if you're unsure of where to start, try journaling about your ideal day, not the day that other people expect from you, or the version of success that the world defines for you, but a day that would bring you true peace and joy. What would you be doing? Who would you be with? How would you feel? Sometimes we've been so disconnected from ourselves that we don't even know what we really want in life anymore. But when we give ourselves permission to dream or to imagine a life that feels aligned with who we truly are, it can help us discover the parts of our life that we might have not been living our full truth. And another important question to ask is, what fears are holding me back? So many of us avoid stepping into our calling because we are afraid. Maybe we're afraid of failure, or afraid of judgment, or afraid of uncertainty. But here's the truth. Fear is always going to be there. It's going to be there whispering doubts and what ifs. And the key to moving forward is not waiting for that fear to disappear. It's choosing to take action despite it. It's learning to trust that the dreams and the desires and the passions that have been placed inside of you, they were put there for a reason. So, how do we move forward from here? Start by taking small, courageous steps today. Maybe it's saying yes to an opportunity that excites you but scares you at the same time. Maybe it's letting go of commitment that no longer serves you so that you can make space for what truly matters for you. Maybe it's simply just being honest with yourself about what you want and then giving yourself permission to go after that. Purpose is not found in the waiting, it's actually found in the doing. It's found in the trusting and in the stepping out even when you don't have all of the answers yet. And through it all, know this: God is not waiting for you to have it all figured out before He can use you. He's not asking for perfection. He's just asking for a willing heart, a heart that is open to being led and that is ready to embrace the journey. So take a deep breath and let go of the fear that you're not enough or that you're somehow too far behind, because you are exactly where you need to be. And as you keep showing up for yourself and you keep aligning your life with what matters most to you, you will begin to experience the kind of freedom and fulfillment that only comes from living in alignment with who you were created to be. So friend, your purpose is not something that you have to chase. It's already a part of you. It's been with you this whole time. You don't have to look externally to try and figure it out or to chase after it. It's within you. It's in the things that light you up, or the values that guide you, and the unique ways that you were created to make an impact on this world. And you don't have to have it all figured out right now. Just take the next step. Trust that as you align your life with what truly matters to you, the path will then become more clear. And here's what I want you to remember. Purpose is not about pressure. It's about peace. It's not about doing more or achieving more or trying to prove yourself more. It's actually about embracing the life that God has designed for you and trusting that you are exactly where you needed to be in this moment. There's no race, there's no deadline, and there's no need to compare your journey to anybody else's. Your purpose is going to unfold in its own perfect time, and every step that you take towards alignment is a step towards greater freedom, joy, and fulfillment. So give yourself some grace. Allow yourself to grow, and most importantly, trust that the same God who created you with all of these unique gifts and all of these unique desires, He's also going to guide you in how to use them. He's not asking you to figure it all out on your own. He's just simply asking you to be willing and to listen and to follow the peace that He places within your heart. So if you're ready to dive even deeper, I've created the Pursuit of Freedom and Pursuit of Purpose workbooks along with the Pursuit of Freedom podcast to walk alongside you in this healing journey. I know that stepping into your purpose and aligning your life with what truly matters can feel overwhelming, and you don't have to do it alone. These resources were created to help you take those next steps with confidence, clarity, and faith. The Pursuit of Freedom workbook will help you break free from self-doubt, fear, and the limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. It's filled with guided exercises, journal prompts, and practical steps to help you step into a life of true freedom and peace. And the Pursuit of Purpose workbook is designed to help you uncover your core values, align your life with your calling, and walk in the purpose that God has created for you. It will give you the tools to live more intentionally, make decisions that reflect your heart, and move forward with courage. And if you ever need extra encouragement, the Pursuit of Freedom podcast is always there for you. Each episode is filled with honest conversations, practical wisdom, and faith-filled encouragement to remind you that you are not alone on this journey. So take a deep breath and trust that you are exactly where you need to be. And know that you have everything that you need to step boldly into the life that you were created for. You are not lost, and you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. So keep taking steps towards what that feels like for you. Keep aligning your life with the things that matter. And most importantly, keep showing up as that beautiful, worthy, and purposeful person that you already are. So I'd love to close this video for you guys today by praying over each and every single one of you and inviting God into your own healing journey. Just because I've walked through some of these things and I have some resources and I'm walking with you, I really want to remind you who has all of the answers and who knows you on a personal level, and that's God, and that's His Son Jesus, and they know you and they love you and they want to have a personal relationship with you. And I want them to be with you because I can't be with you and I can't give you everything on this healing journey, but God will be with you. And so I want to pray and I want to invite Him into your healing journey so that you're not alone And I want him to be able to speak to your heart. And I pray above all, I pray that it would bring you closer to Jesus and that you guys would be able to walk through this together, and he would give you the revelations and the clarity that you need to be able to walk out your purpose and confidence. Heavenly Father, I come to you today with a heart full of gratitude for the person listening to this prayer and watching this video. You see them. You know them. You created them with so much love and with so much intention and with a purpose that has been woven into the very fabric of their being since the beginning of time. And yet, Lord, I know that sometimes purpose can feel distant, unclear, and like something just out of our reach. I know how easy it is to feel lost and to wonder if we're even on the right path and to question whether we are truly living in alignment with what you've created us for. But God, you are not a God of confusion. You are a God of clarity and of peace and of purpose. And right now, I pray that you would begin to reveal to this precious soul just how purposeful their life truly is. I pray that you would open their heart and their mind to see the unique ways that you have designed them. God, I pray that you would show them their gifts and their passions and the things that bring them joy and the moments when they feel the most alive. God, help them to recognize that their purpose is not something that they have to chase or prove. It's something that has been with them all along. Lord, I pray that you would remove every fear, every doubt, and every lie that has made them believe that they are not enough. I pray against the voice that tells them that they are falling behind or that they have missed their chance and that they are somehow less than others who seem to have it all figured out. The truth is, their journey is still unfolding and it's going exactly as it's supposed to. And God, I pray that you are guiding them every step of the way. There is no rush and there is no comparison. There is only their unique, beautiful, divinely orchestrated plan. So Lord, I pray that you would help them to trust that their purpose is not about pressure, but that it's about peace. And it's not about striving or hustling or trying to force something to happen. It's about learning to listen. It's about learning to lean in and to pay attention to those quiet nudges that you are placing on their heart. And to recognize that the things that they love and the things that come naturally to them, the things that bring them joy, those things are not random. Those are clues. Those are pieces of the beautiful tapestry that you are weaving into their life. So Father, I pray that they would no longer feel the need to fit into someone else's mold and that they would stop looking around for validation and start looking within, knowing that you have already placed everything that they need inside of them and that you would remind them they are not behind, they are not lost, they are exactly where they need to be. And Lord, I ask that you help align their life with what truly matters most to them and to you. Show them the areas where they have been living out of step with themselves and their values. Reveal the places where they have been chasing things that don't bring true fulfillment. And give them the courage to let go of the things that no longer serve them so that they can make room for what truly does. Help them to release the need to try and prove themselves and instead step boldly into the life that truly reflects who you made them to be. And I pray that in this process they would draw closer to you, Lord, and that they would stop trying to figure everything out on their own, and instead they would surrender their plans to you, knowing that you are the ultimate guide, that you are already leading them, already working things out on their behalf, and already making a way for them to walk in alignment with their true calling. Jesus, I pray that they would know deep in their soul that they are fully known, fully seen, and fully loved by you, and that you are not waiting for them to have it all figured out before you use them, that they don't have to be perfect, don't have to have every answer, and don't have to force things to happen. They simply just have to trust and to follow the peace and to take one step at a time, knowing that you are walking with them every step. And I declare over them today that they are not lost. They are exactly where they need to be. They do not have to try and prove their worth, and they are already enough. I declare that their purpose is already unfolding and God is leading them every step of the way. I declare that they are stepping into alignment, stepping into clarity, and stepping into peace. And I want to remind them that they are deeply loved, deeply seen, and divinely guided by you. So thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for the work that you are doing in their heart. Thank you for the clarity that is coming, for the purpose that is unfolding, and for the peace that is settling over them right now. I pray that they would walk forward with confidence, with trust, and with a deep knowing that they are exactly where they are meant to be. I bless them with your wisdom, your love, and your peace. And I pray all of this in the mighty, beautiful, and powerful name of Jesus. Amen. Be blessed, y'all. Bye.